17 years old. I come from sort of West London, but I live in Brighton at the moment. I'm a full-time geology student at Brighton Uni, and I work kind of random jobs for cash. I was probably sort of first year college. I mean, I'd known for a while there was some stuff going wrong, but it was first year college that I properly realised, kind of 16, 17 years old. Initially I spoke to my parents, but didn't really find, much help from them, as is, seemingly often the case across the world. Parents tend not to really understand these things, and they're from a generation where these things weren't really taught and learned about in the way that it is now. So after speaking to them and not really getting any help, I went to the NHS, specifically to my local GP. Well, I felt, in terms of how they treated me, pretty decently, but just the waiting list for these services is so long. I mean, my GP prescribed me antidepressants, I can't remember the name of them, but pretty rubbish ones. But then in terms of waiting for like CBT and a referral, that was probably 6-7 months at first. This was a few years back when it wasn't quite as bad as it is now. So the actual getting put on antidepressants was pretty quick, but then the time between that and actually seeing care and mental health services was massive by comparison. Yeah, between, for the thing that I had, they gave me sort of like one CBT session, and they were like, wait a bit and we'll see. And that was, I think, probably another 6 months or so, during which you're just put on antidepressants, and you sort of have to hope that they're, the right ones. Misdiagnosed too, which didn't help. I was diagnosed with generalised anxiety disorder, but I've actually got social anxiety disorder, and the medications for them are quite different, despite the fact that they're quite similar. So I was put on, essentially the wrong drugs for about 6 months, which wasn't good. I think that the system that we've got isn't great. It relies too heavily upon, let's just sort of put people on drugs and see if they, happen to work out all right, instead of kind of actually talking to people and getting the therapy that they need. And the NHS are completely under budgeted, as we've all seen, and Brexit's making that even worse. And what we're really seeing is that they just put you on the cheapest antidepressants that they've got, which is a serotonin replacement drug. They stick you on that for 6 months and see what happens, with the hope that you go away, because they just don't have the money to actually care for people. But at the same Yeah, absolutely, that's happened, and it's happened to a lot of my friends too. I've got friends who, for instance, in Brighton quite recently, a close friend of mine who, we're all pretty sure that she's got bipolar, but it is not yet diagnosed. She phoned up this NHS helpline, because the waiting list in Brighton's about 8 months, and they basically just sort of said, like, oh no, it's not serious enough for us to deal with it now, like, you've just got to wait on the waiting list. And she just cut herself, I mean, to the point that it was, actually looking like sort of death. And I know a lot of people that have attempted suicide or have gotten close to attempting suicide simply because they can't get the help they need, and they almost feel that if they do something like that, it will boost them up a list and maybe get them more help. I guess the first thing I'd say is talk to your friends about it, because the chances are you're not the only person going through this at all. I mean, even just looking at the numbers, like, most young people have these struggles, and yet most of them don't talk to each other about it. If you do feel it's something that's, actually putting yourself back, or that you're, becoming a danger to yourself, I really would, as kind of failing as the services are, I'd still say contact your doctor and kind of make them aware of it and book yourself in for an appointment. They're not going to judge you. They deal with people that are going through this every day, and it might help you. I mean, it might not, but, it's worth a try. Yeah, the first thing is to not judge them off the back of it, and to do a bit of reading, to, sort of know that this is really common, and that it's becoming more and more common. And really just, not to pass judgment on them, just to provide them with, a helping hand, or someone you can, talk to, and kind of be there as a guidance figure. And then, if it does seem serious, try and get them medical help, really, is the best thing that you can do. If that's her opinion, she could probably start by actually putting the money where her mouth is and funding the NHS and funding education on mental health.